Rose here with a message to you from myself and the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Shen Yang, everyone see wear a mask, let the numbers drop. I don't want COVID, lay you down flat. Nose and mouth, you fi cover up that. Oh, 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 sanitizer gets hospitalized. Fight the virus, then fight for your life, yeah. Nobody talk about say you no response no more. Don't be reckless, cause you test say you're not happy. You can still get the virus from somebody. Don't be reckless, cause you test say you're not happy. You can still get the virus. So keep the numbers down. Protect yourself and the people around. COVID in town, 6 feet apart and 6 feet in the ground. Yeah. Keep the numbers down. Protect yourself and the people around. COVID in town, 6 feet apart and 6 feet in the ground. Stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive.
station with the hottest station with the hottest music.
Amen. Sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah, dance hallelujah, hallelujah, amen. Sing hallelujah. Your name is a strong tower, Jesus. To you belong all power, Jesus. Whenever I call your name, you make a way. Your name is a strong tower.
Yes. Today, Wednesday, and it's time for our usual talking investments, At this time on Wednesdays is when we go to talking investments. This is a program that we use to talk about investments opportunities, both for the country. And we have with us the opposition spokesman on investments, Mr. Anthony Hilton. Mr. Hilton, good afternoon. Hello?
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. And
good afternoon to you and your listeners.
Yes, sir. And I can't. In other words, I feel obliged to hope.
I'm not hearing you. Cutting out.
Are you hearing me now? Are you hearing me, Mr. Hilton?
But you keep chipping. Yes, I am.
I don't know.
I am.
Okay. I'm saying that I will have to open the discussion by, asking you what you know about what is happening at SSL, because that from all indications is a big blow to the country's investment credibility. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, we keep chipping in and out. So.
Yeah, yes. I tell you what.
I didn't hear you. Keep chipping out. I don't know.
Hold on. I tell you what. Hold on. Just hang up and let me call you back. Hang up. Yeah, we having some technical problems with honorable gentleman there. We're going to try and connect him otherwise to make sure that we have him without interruptions, So let me try and talk to him. Are you there? All right, hold on there. Hold on, don't move. Yes.
Yes.
You are hearing me now, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right. And so we are talking to the opposition spokesman on investments and just remind me of your portfolio, Mr.
Industry investment and global logistics.
And global logistics, right? Well, as I said that I would have to. I feel obliged to ask you what is your take on what is happening at SSL, because that, from all indications, what is happening there is a big blow to the country's financial credibility. Are you in agreement with that?
Yes, I'd have to agree, and I think you're rephrasing of the question to me is most appropriate in that I don't know a lot about what is happening. I'm hearing just as the public is. I mean, I'm not in cabinet. I have no preferred access. So I'm getting the information as the public is getting the information. It is true that as opposition cabinet, we have our ways and means of trying to get ahead of the information. But insofar as this did not, well, this part of it may have occurred while I was in cabinet, but that was never the subject of any discussion in the cabinet at that time. Mm-hmm. What is coming out now is news, and it's very revealing. And yes, it's very troubling. But let me say this: it's very serious, very troubling, and it is in all of our interest to ensure that this matter is transparently dealt with and addressed, and that we get on top of it, and wherever sanctions are to lie or liability, that those are done in the interest of a strengthened system, because it is of utmost importance that the trust and confidence that is necessary to have a well-functioning financial system, that be intact. And I think that confidence can only be built, and the credibility, if wrongdoings are exposed, and there clearly have been wrongdoing in this matter. The only question is who has acted inappropriately or illegally, and how and what measures are taken to one, make sure the people are compensated, and two, that the just punishment be meted out to those who would have done wrong in this situation. So it's in our collective interest that this matter be dealt with transparently, and that the correct actions and then the countermeasures are put in place to strengthen the oversight of the system, because this matter has gone international. But let me put it this way: these things happen. Whenever they happen, they have consequences, and therefore it is never a pleasant thing. And for the time that it happens, it shakes confidence and it affects the financial system. But know that the financial systems undergo this from time to time. We've seen massive other things with in 2008 with the financial crisis. A lot of wrongdoing was involved in that, and yet with appropriate measures and action in time, they're able to address those issues. So we're hopeful for the benefit of the country, because the truth is the country cannot operate without full faith in our incredible credibility in our banking system.
Yes. But one of the things that shocked me about this revelation is, how is it possible that an organization that is dealing with millions of dollars, how is it possible for one employee to fleece close to $100 million without being detected? Now, that tell me something about how that organization is operated.
Yeah, it is, to my mind, it is highly unlikely that it's just the act of one person.
Okay.
Highly unlikely, because there are systems of checks and balances, and the FSC, which again is a subject of much scrutiny, and I think correctly so, the FSC, what is clear is that the FSC, from all that we know now, including the revelation that FSC had in fact sent report to the current finance minister, who said he simply had not read them. But the FSC was in there, and whether they were doing what they should have done in its entirety, it was clear that they were there, and some supervision was being offered. Whether that was compromised and by whom is part of the investigation.
Yes.
But it's not possible, to my mind, that this massive fraud could be committed by one person, and therefore, I think we should await the full extent of the investigation.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the statement today from the board and management of SSC. But in that statement, I don't know if you saw it, in that statement, they have focused their attention. In other words, they have laid all of the blame so far at the feet of that employee, Jean Panton.
Well, let me put it this way. That to me is not a credible. I have not seen it because I've been busy since morning doing some other things. But that would not be a credible thing.
Yes.
And I think that too will be tested and should be tested in the investigation or by the investigation.
Yes.
So again, I say I am prepared to. I think it's appropriate to bring in a third party to assist in the investigation. I think in this instance, FBI, because no doubt. No doubt because you have the involvement of U.S. currency, and people should now begin to realize that whenever U.S. currency is involved, you can infringe U.S. law.
Yes.
If you use U.S. currency, and that's a very far-reaching power.
Mm-hmm.
So when you deal in U.S. currency, you can, in fact, incur liability from that, and the interest certainly of that country. So it's one of the reasons the FBI is called in. Plus, I have no doubt, I have no evidence, but I think I would not be surprised if some of the proceeds of the crime has been invested in the U.S.
Yes.
So we will see, but I don't want to get ahead of myself too far.
Yes.
And prejudge anything. I'm quite prepared to watch what I say. People should watch carefully and observe and to determine whether they're being hoodwinked or not.
Okay, sir. Okay, well,
but you're correct in that this would not be helpful because it would in fact shake the confidence of investors, current and potential, until the matter is sorted out and fully aired and a measure of credibility returned to the system.
Well, let us hope that is done, and let us watch to see how the authorities are handling this matter to ensure that the matter is cleared up in a way, in a transparent way. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's in all of our interest that be done.
Yes. So, what are you looking at now on the investment scene? What you are obviously one of those Jamaicans whose interest is and who has a keen eye on what is happening on the investment veranda in the country.
But let me say that as a shadow spokesperson on industry investment and global logistics, my role and responsibility is not in the operational side of it, in the market.
Yes.
I'm on the policy
yes,
side.
Of course.
But obviously, with keen interest and have to watch very carefully what happens in the system, because that's how you know whether the policy work is bearing fruit or it's it's very practical, and what is the outcome of those policy decisions. And some of that decision is to recommend changes to the environment for investment. So yeah, to that extent there is the overlap, but my focus is around policy. But what I can say is that currently I was very pleased to see that something that I articulated in government when I was previously the Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, and articulated the logistic hub project.
Yes,
it was the case that a number of persons were they took it as a laughing stock and think that this was some frivolous idea of mine. The fact is that the pandemic has proven that the entire focus on logistics and a logistics-centered economy, as I was articulating, is absolutely necessary.
Right.
And in fact, I think the point can be made credibly that had we acted, were we able to act and acted with some alacrity, that we could have had a much more resilient system in place.
Yes.
And may have fared much better in terms of the losses and the loss of production and output in the country. But we live and we learn. But I was never daunted. I knew what was saying was correct, and this is why in this come around, the title of the portfolio has been changed from industry investment and commerce to industry investment and global logistics.
Yes.
And that change was done before the pandemic.
Yes.
So that's how confident I remain in that vision for Jamaica to become a logistic hub. I think fewer people or more persons are now convinced that that is so. Certainly, the current administration, members of whom attacked me in the parliament and elsewhere about the folly of the idea, are now convinced because the administration has embraced fully the idea of the logistic hub and the vision that has been articulated. And I just have to say, in respect of that is to the credit of the administration and to the benefit of the Jamaican people. And so for that, I am pleased. There's a lot of work to be done, and related to that, a lot of investments to be made to bring about the full reality. But what we know already is that hundreds of millions have already been invested in that idea coming to fruition.
Yes.
The latest of which is the launch a week or so ago of a ship repair business in harbour along the Florida Glassboro.
Yes, out by Harbour View there.
Harbour, in the Harbour Head area.
Yes.
So we and that was a key element, one of the key elements of the logistic hub as I articulated it then. And it has taken some time, but it is now come to fruition. And that project, I believe, is just at its first phase, but already it's generating quite a bit of buzz and quite a bit of interest because of the quality jobs that it will provide over time. These are highly skilled, highly sought after jobs, well-paying jobs. And its impact, I believe, over time will be very significant in the shipping industry and for positioning Jamaica as the hub, as I articulated it. I'm also aware of investments, private and public, that are taking place now in the sector to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. It has been publicly announced that the government is proceeding with another key element of the logistic hub, as I articulated it, and that is the Caymanas logistic park.
Yes.
And that too was the subject of ridicule and laughing, but it is in time. I think the vision is clear, and the government has seen the wisdom.
Yes.
Of moving ahead with that project.
Mr. Hilton, just remind my listeners and viewers, what, for example, just tell them what was just explain, remember the concept that you articulated then in relation to the Caymanas property. Well,
the concept at its basis in reality, which is that, the Buccaneers is not by accident that the Buccaneers chose Jamaica as the base from which to carry out their seafaring activities. They would, as history tells us, they would use Port Royal at the time to attack the ships that were coming from South America, loaded with precious metals and gold and other precious metal, heading for Europe. And that is because Jamaica enjoys a very strategic location, in that it is one of the port of Kingston and Port Royal at the time, is much nearer to the international trade routes that the ships, hundreds of thousands of ships, passes by every day or every year. Mm-hmm. And so it is that strategic location that the Buccaneers, even from those early days, understood and took advantage of the location of Port Royal. We simply, recognizing that and taking account of modern day shipping and logistics activities, articulated a position that Jamaica, given its geopolitical, its geostrategic location, its proximity to some of the largest and most developed markets in the world, meaning United States, Canada, many countries in South and Central America, and even in the Caribbean, where we are mostly middle-income countries, where we have a huge amount of tourists that come every year from some of these rich countries to enjoy themselves, to spend money, and to build our economy. So, taking account of all of that, we simply projected that building up our key critical infrastructures, or ports, and the necessity for investment in modern logistic facilities such as warehouses, distribution centers, fulfillment centers, and a number of related other investments, that you can create an environment where more trade is done centralized in Jamaica, and Jamaica can participate not only in production that relates to its own natural endowment in raw materials and whatever, agriculture, bauxite, whatever, but that Jamaica, because of its logistics location and its strategic location, can participate in trade that is generated elsewhere. We currently do it with transshipment. Yes. The Port of Kingston is already a transshipment hub that needs to be expanded, deepen the harbour, widen the harbour, and expand. Mm-hmm. This is the simple. We have to implement. So we already are seeing some of the benefits of being a trading hub. What we need to do is to expand on that, train up our people, more of our young people, particularly now in the high-tech, now that we see that after COVID, yes, that a lot of modern logistics is about technology, IT, AI, artificial intelligence, digitalization. All of this is now part of modern logistics.
Yes, sir.
And the opportunity for investment and for jobs is significant. And so we remain hopeful. The government has reaffirmed its commitment, and this administration, when PNP return to power next, we will be pursuing them with even more alacrity, because the idea, we generated the idea, and we know exactly what more needs to be done.
Okay. No, and I don't want to take secrets out of school, but I know that you are preparing yourself, and as the opposition party, you must be preparing yourself to initiate new policies or to continue to build on the existing policies, when your party takes power. What are some of the new ideas that you think is feasible in Jamaica this time?
Well, I mean, of course, I mean, as a party, we are not just simply out talking and campaigning. We have to spend time putting together new policies and new programs,
yes,
and new initiatives that when we come back to office, we'll implement those. And so what I'll say is that it's public knowledge that there will be a retreat this weekend. We're going to discuss a number of new proposals, new ideas. And I think it's appropriate that I not really say much until that happens, because those ideas have now to be approved by the shadow cabinet.
Yes.
And this is where you get an opportunity to sort of integrate the different ideas coming from the different portfolios.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, as you know, everything is everything. Everything comes back to and have to be coherent, meaning everything has a relationship back to other areas, other portfolios, so that in the end it's one administration, and it's one government acting in concert and making sure that the policies and programs are logical, they're consistent, and that they're all producing the desired output or outcome.
Yes.
Right. So bear with me. I'm not in a position to discuss that ahead of the cabinet retreat this weekend.
Yeah.
And so perhaps on another occasion we can have this discussion.
Yes.
Shortly.
But go back to those lands in St. Catherine. One of the big controversy, or one of the big question on the public agenda is the fact that these are some of the best farmlands in the country, and you are aware of the discussion last year that some of the lands that were earmarked for agriculture was in fact being set aside for housing. Now, my question is, your idea for those agricultural land, I mean, how will you ensure that farming land are put it this way, there is still enough land for agriculture, and that we don't use the best agricultural land in the country to convert them into factory space and housing and other commercial enterprises? Well,
the truth is that there are competing activities. There's land to be used for agriculture, for housing, for industrial activity, a range of the societal and social and economic activities. Now, what I believe more needs to be done in the areas in which more needs to be done is in the area planning. I think we haven't done the best job of planning and planning with foresight. The use of, or the highest and best use of our resources, and that relates to land, it relates to our human resources, it relates to our mineral and other resources.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have to do a much better job. What I'm hopeful about is that, as I've been saying for quite some time now, that we have to be more data-driven, evidence-based and data-driven in our planning. Fortunately, the technology, the direction in which technology is going today, we're greatly assisted in that regard by the increased use of data analytics and technology. Now, computing technology makes it much easier and much faster to analyze very complex data and to give you a very, very reliable result. So I think in many respects, our governance as administration, our ability to plan is being tremendously aided by the technology that is now available and going forward into the future. So my expectation is that in digitalizing as we've started to do and need to continue to do, we will find tools in which to make for better planning. Now, because I think that's at the core of it. You have to plan properly, because there's no sense in which there's land is not needed for different legitimate purposes. But I think with planning and understanding the returns and what the society needs and the economy needs at any particular juncture, then it will afford the stakeholders, critical stakeholders, not just the policymakers, but farmers and different groupings, to have a say in how we go about the allocation of land, which is a scarce resource, limited in most instances, and that we have to ensure that the use of it is sustainable and practical. So I think at the end of the day, you're not going to escape the balancing, right? And that must be supported by your policy strategy in determining what are the priority, what is your agricultural policy, your industrial policy, your trade policy. All of that comes into the mix to make a determination as to where you place your industries, where you place your communities, your housing, and increasingly those things are being brought closer and closer together for ease of transport and all of that. So this is why it requires planning at the base, and I believe that that should be our principal focus.
Yes, sir. Yes, I understand that. Tell me something. Is in your vision, do you see us, broadening our investment partners? Right now, we as part of the Caribbean, our principal partner is the United States and Canada, because geographically we are located in an area where those are our partners. They are closest to us. Those are huge markets, and therefore we shouldn't lose them. But from where do you see us broadening our investment base? In other words, looking outside of those two countries for investment partners?
Well, investment is primarily the province of our private enterprise.
Yes.
Governments do invest, but usually those are proceeds of different revenue sources, grants and loans, to invest in public good like infrastructure, road, amenities and that sort of thing. In terms of the economy, the primary actors in the economy are our private sector.
Yes.
And there are no existing policy restricting any private actor from sourcing funds from almost anywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that it really is the interest of our private actors, both here and elsewhere, to see the opportunities that go. This is why I said the government has a role in through its policy strategy and plans to determine and to shape some of the opportunities. But the market, we have a mixed system where our markets operate, or whether it's a financial market or a market in logistics, in construction, in housing, in real estate. We have a fairly open and dynamic market.
Mm-hmm.
So that, to a large degree, is going to determine the attractiveness by investors, both local and foreign, in playing a part in investing in enterprises and other entities, financial or otherwise, that will be of benefit to building our economy and driving investment. There are certain investments that are trade specific, that are related to trading. As I said, your investment in logistics. Logistics is clearly a trade-related activities, right? Because you're talking about the movement of goods and services, whether by air, sea, and that sort of thing. So that's more trade-related, but the investment around it in building out the infrastructure are quite significant. And I will just refer our people to the fact that we already done a logistic master plan for the initiative, and it's already on the website for both JAMPRO, Special Economic Zone, and the Parliament. And there you'll see that over $80 billion is projected as investment in multiple years going forward to build out the totality of the logistical project. So that's government kind of leading the way by articulating a vision and a particular initiative that the private sector, can choose to buy into and to invest their money. But there are a number of other schemes, good investment scheme, and I would still say in tourism and in other areas, the private sector continue to invest. And what we have to do as government is to ensure that we have a hospitable environment, that we have skilled and well-trained people, discipline. We need less crime and violence. We have to come on top of some of these social ills. But I believe, by and large, Jamaica will remain resilient and provide opportunities in a range of different areas.
Yeah. So are you satisfied with the track on which, I'm talking from a policy perspective?
Am I satisfied with?
Are you satisfied with the investment portfolios, the investment track that is being used right now? Are you satisfied?
Yeah, well, I mean, what we have to ensure, and as an opposition, we have to ensure that at whatever level that we are now, that we have plans and programs in place to enhance those.
Yes. And
to ensure that greater investment takes place, because that is how you get greater economic activity, growth in the economy, and a better quality of life for your people. So it is the job of any government administration and a dynamic private sector to ensure that the investment takes place. The private sector is incentivized by profit and reward for the risks that they take. Government is incentivized by the support of the people for doing the right things, and parties get the power, remain in power by the credibility of their ideas and the policy proposals that they put on the table.
Yes. No, Minister, I know this is not your portfolio, but it is part of your portfolio, and I'm talking about how in our environment, how important it is that the labor market is treated properly. And right now, there are significant gaps in that area. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to pay close attention to our labor market because that determines the quality of our labor, determines the productivity and the competitiveness of our economy and of enterprises. Labor is a critical component of our critical component of our economy.
Yes.
Labor has to be treated fairly. We have to make sure that persons, we have to do a better job of integrated women and different people with disability. We have to be a more inclusive labor force. Our labor force has to be trained and skilled properly and to be productive. But for that, there need to be a fair compensation and just reward for labor. Labor is a critical stakeholder in the economy.
Yes. Yes.
Very critical. And so our labor laws and the reforms that are required from time to time, we have to pay attention to that, and governments have to pay attention. It cannot be simply, let the market deal with all aspects of it. We know from experience that the market sometimes don't work for whatever reason, and it doesn't work fairly at times. And in those situations and circumstances, government has to have policies and institutions that can give support, critical support, to ensure that there is a meaningful and dynamic labor market.
Yes.
And labor management relations, which are critical to creating an investment climate.
Yes, of course, right. And this again is not your, it's under your specific ministry, but I'm looking on and I am saying, what is happening in this was once one of our brightest.
Happening where?
In the mining sector. This was once one of our brightest sector in the country, but it has certainly lost some of its attractiveness, eh?
Well, I mean, again, you'd have to take it in the various sectors. If you look at the sectors in bauxite, you look at limestone, you look at sand, various minerals and mining resources.
Yes.
One of the big questions facing the mining sector is simple fact that you're talking about extractive industries, and the entire matter of we have all become more and more sensitized to the question of sustainability in the sustainable environment. We know we're much more aware now that irreparable damage can be done to the environment unless certain practices, certain procedures are followed. And so the mining activities of today are much more scrutinized, or they ought to be much more scrutinized than they were back in the 1960s, when we were less aware of the impacts of some of these mining activities. Mining, in some instances, have undermined structures, other expensive infrastructure, roadways, and a number of these things, bridges, rivers, the groins in rivers, making it much more dangerous and perilous. So the activities, while still important because we need sand for construction, we need a number of things in our daily lives that have to come from the mining activities. But we also know that these now have to be done much more carefully and much better regulated.
Yes. And
I mean, persons who are going into mining now are far better. It has to be much better regulated and to ensure that the damage done is not irreparable.
yes. And something else is that looking forward, it does not appear as if we are the economy. So investment, for example, like we are not in a position going forward to attract investments. So, for example, like the bauxite industry, which was a labor-intensive industry. So going forward, it would appear as if we have to be looking now at smaller industries, more technologically driven industries, and this is where small businesses, I think, will have to play a major role in the industrial development of the country going forward.
Yeah, there clearly is a role for small businesses, small and medium-sized businesses, to invest in perhaps much more customized activity. So the trade or the investment may not be global, but they may respond to local and regional needs that are much more sustainable. I think, again, the question of us all being better stewards of our natural environment is something that we're much better sensitized about today than we were in previous years. The issue for a number of small and medium-sized enterprises is the investment, the financing and investment component. Because as you said before, the shift away from labor-intensive to more capital or more technology-intensive is usually a much more expensive operation. Not always, but that is generally the case. And the more technology you introduce, the more capital-intensive it becomes. And so, again, a balance will have to be struck, perhaps a better balance. It may have been that we went too far in one direction, and we now need to, through appropriate regulation, come back to a better balance in the area of mining activity, simply because it is an extractive industry.
Yeah. Well, sir, I would say I want to thank you very much for your participation this afternoon. And, as usual, that this platform, the Rebel Radio platform, is wide open to discuss these issues. So, I want to say thank you very much.
All right. Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Look forward to speaking to you again.
Okay.
And to your audience. Okay. Good.
Take good care, very good care of yourself. Right.
All right. Good.
Yes. That was talking investments with the...
All righty. Good.
Yes, sir.
All right.
With the opposition spokesman on investment, industry and global statistics, the Mr. Anthony Hilton. And, this is something that we have to focus on and see where we are going and what we are going to do in order to attract investments. This is Rebel Radio. Let us go for a break. Don't move your dial.
But now I see. life is easy when you're on top of the mountain. You've got peace of mind like you never know. Yeah, but things change when you're down in the valley. Don't lose faith, for you're never alone. For the God of the mountain is still God in the valley. When things goes wrong, He'll make them right. And God of the good times is still God in the bad times. The God in the day is still God in the night. You talk of faith when you're on top of the mountain, but talk them easy when life at its best. But it's down in the valley of trials and temptation. That's when your faith is really put to the test. Lord of mercy, for the God on the mountain is still God in the valley. When things go wrong, He'll make them right. God of the good times is still God in the bad times. God in the day is still God in the night. God in the day, yeah, it's God in the night. Lord of mercy, when things goes wrong, make them cry. Yeah, oh bye, Lord of mercy. God in the day, God in the night. All I've got now is all to Jesus. I surrender all to Him. I freely give. I will ever love and trust.
here with a message to you from myself and the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Shen Yang, everyone see wear a mask, let the numbers drop. I don't want COVID, lay you down flat. Nose and mouth, you fi cover up that. Sanitizer gets hospitalized. Fight the virus, then fight for your life, yeah. Nobody talk about say you no response no more. Don't be reckless, cause your test say you not have it, you can still get the virus from somebody. Don't be reckless, cause your test say you not have it, you can still get the virus. So keep the numbers down, protect yourself and the people you're around. COVID in town, 6 feet apart and 6 feet in the ground. Yeah. Keep the numbers down, protect yourself and the people you're around. COVID in town, 6 feet apart and 6 feet in the ground. Stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive.
All things are possible if you only believe. Sitting at home, all alone, wondering what tomorrow may bring. He of little faith, dig deeper within. Healing the sick, he raised the dead, he walked on the sea. He worked miracles if you only believe. Only believe, only believe. All things are possible if you only believe. Only believe, only believe. All things are possible if you only believe. Lord, show me the way to do your will, and I will obey. I wanna be.
Yes, welcome back, listeners and viewers. You know, and at this time we want to talk about transportation, you know, and especially what is happening in the public transportation industry. We have with us the chairman of TODS, Mr. Hedgerton Newman. Mr. Newman, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, brother. Thanks for having me again.
Yes, sir. And
Good afternoon to your listeners.
yes, and the listeners and viewers would be aware that today is the start of the new Road Traffic Act, amendments to the new Road Traffic Act, took effect today, and we are all aware of what are some of the issues. I'm very sure that there are a lot of motorists who were not able to take advantage of yesterday, which was the deadline to pay for outstanding tickets. And I'm sure that and that there would be some benefits from that. I'm sure that a lot of motorists were not able to reap that at all. What is the latest, Mr. Newman? What is happening in your sector?
Well, you know, the latest is that today, February 1, a very important month. You know, I was listening to an excerpt from the Black Caucus, I think, overseas. I was listening to some things from them. So today's a very important day for the world, but a day when the transport sector and the motoring public at large has engaged in a new phase of transportation. In terms of the new Road Traffic Act. Yesterday was one of those days that will go down in the history books when thousands upon thousands of persons converge upon the courts of Jamaica to pay their 1, 2, or 200 or 300 or 400 outstanding tickets. Most of them were not able to do so because the government did not realize so many persons have outstanding tickets. Society believed it was just a taximan, the unruly taximan, who have outstanding tickets. But when they check for themselves, they do have outstanding tickets. Even drivers of ministers have outstanding tickets and ought to pay them. Well, one other thing is that we have lobbied for 5 months straight, and we up that within the last 3 months, since November of last year. And we thought we were doing it for ourselves, but we're doing it for the motoring public. And we got some things. So we got a couple of things, and the main thing that we need, we did not get that one, and that is to get time to pay the government what they said we owe them. But what the good thing is that we were able to go to the courts and get a date or get our papers stamped to say we had attended upon the court. And so that's where we are now. But the new phase begins today. And of course, somebody called me about 2 hours ago that they received the first ticket for driving and using a cell phone. That was a busman. I hope he's the only man for today, and people understand how serious the government is in terms of the issues that we have on our roads in terms of using cell phones while driving.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. One of your one of the companies, I understand, I think is One Love, or if I don't understand that One Voice. They were saying that today they were calling a strike.
You know better than that, you know. Mm-hmm. If you don't organize something good, it can't work. Yeah. And I advise them from day one, don't even think about a strike. Yeah. Because transport operators are not persons who are uneducated. They understand. Yes, I have 6 tickets, but 5 of those tickets, or 4 of those tickets, I got them rightly.
Yes.
2 I got wrong. I should have paid the 5.
Mm. Yes.
And so, up to last, I said to my members, listen, the government is wrong by not putting in the infrastructure, but we are also wrong. We got a ticket. We should either pay it or contest it.
Yes.
Right? And we have ample time to do that.
Yes, of course.
But as Jamaicans, as people, we wait until the last moment to do what we have to do.
Yes.
And so, I did not see a withdrawal of service, a disruption of the productive sector and the electoral sector this morning as something that would help us. No. And that is why my group, along with Jatu, says, One Voice was born a few weeks ago, a couple months ago.
Yes.
They don't have the strength or the know-how to negotiate or even organize. They put me in trouble. They allowed the commissioner of police to call me twice this week, pointing finger at me. But, you know, one would say, God, oh God. You know, so it couldn't go through. It could not go through. And it's the third time I do this, and it fails. And if we're going to do something, let's unite and do it right, eh?
Yeah, yes.
And that's my thought. I'm sorry they did not get through, but for the right way, for the right reason.
Yes. So, as it currently, those members who did not get a chance to attend the court and the paper stamp, what is their alternative now?
I put it this way: those persons who did not get to attend upon the court and ensure that the court knew that they were there by way of either stamping their document or taking their number to call them or paying their fine, they still have a chance to go and do so. But in this case, starting today, they will not get the benefit of having their demerit points removed.
Okay.
So they will have to pay, and if they have the points over a certain amount, then, you know, they might lose their license. Yeah. Those persons who are in need of help, whether financially or legally, we stand as an organization ready to help them right now as we speak. Okay. We're having a meeting on Sunday, a town hall, where we set up a table for those who need help. We bring a team of lawyers there, people from the ministry, all over, to come and talk to them, because there's still a chance to work out certain things for them. As I said before, there's some tickets we got them wrongly. We are going to contest them. Some that we got right, then we are going to ensure that they are paid.
I recall that you lobbied for, your organization lobbied for the replacement of bus stops along Constant Spring Road. What is happening in that direction, sir?
No, you hit my nerves. And let me tell you, the next call to the minister and the Transport Authority is to warn them that not only Constant Spring Road, there are a couple on Hagley Park Road, and there are some on the Barbican Road coming down. Let me tell you something. Those bus stops must be put in place. The Road Traffic Act speaks to me as a taximan can't stop at a bus stop. Now, let me tell you something. We need taxi stops. And here is where, my brother, we're going to be very, very serious as of Sunday, that government understand that you can put on all the rules and for us, and we must abide by them. You need also to abide by the rules.
Yes.
It cannot be a law for the main low crossroads and none for those above crossroads. We are saying to government, we are willing to pay. We will pay. We will abide by the rules. I welcome the new Road Traffic Act. Welcome it wholeheartedly, because I want to see a reduction in fatal crashes. But guess what? You're not going to give me tickets every day again, right? Because we got the tickets because there were no bus stops. We got the tickets because every street marked yellow and we have nowhere to stop. But guess what now? As of this Sunday, you have to put in the infrastructure so we can operate without being ticketed every day by the police.
Yes. So let me understand something clearly now. Taxis cannot stop at bus stops. Legally.
Not allowed. It's illegal for a taximan to stop at a bus stop.
So where should he stop? And
Excellent question. Excellent question. I can't answer it because there's nowhere for them to stop. There's no parking facility for the 7,000 plus Hackney carriage in the KMTR.
Yes.
And society, the media like you, don't understand that's where we get 80% of our tickets.
Yes, but what the Ministry of Transport says about that?
You know, and to be honest with you, we have spoken with them over and over, even since the past 3 to 4 months. Mm. And we got some positive that they're going to deal with it. But the positives so far, they're in words, no deeds.
No, then taxis need stands. Taxis need parking space, legal parking space where they must stop and drop off and pick up passengers.
We have spoken to 3 ministers who agreed and even apologized to us for the absence of these facilities and agreed that they will work with us in looking at those things. Nothing yet practical. And as I said before, the next call to my minister, Minister Shaw, will be more than a warning for these facilities to be in place, especially the Constant Spring Road, that he promised us that will ensure those bus stops will be in place.
Yes.
I'm saying by mid-February, if we don't see them, then okay.
Yeah. Because if we don't those stops, then
more tickets.
Is more tickets because
and you're going to call about maybe the next year or two talking about are we going to ask for amnesty. Or you might see us ask for amnesty because we're getting the same ticket over again. So it's a recurring decimal.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I saw where the Minister of National Security has indicated that the traffic police are going to be equipped with new equipment so that they can offer ticket, they can write tickets more speedily, and also that they are going to be given body cameras, and that will assist to make both the police and civilians operate in a more professional way. In other words, so if there the accusation right now, there are a lot of accusation about police taking bribes and all those kind of stuff. The body camera should be an evidence gathering tool that should reduce that. Don't you think so?
The thing is, first of all, we welcome the instrument that the JCF will have to instrument the body cam. They have the body cams already. They have them thrown down, nobody want to use them. So they're going to enforce that. Now the JCF is going to enforce that the officers wear the body cams. And the ticketing, the machine to do the tickets is a good idea. They started it some months ago. And one of the things I note about those machines is that when they print a ticket and give to you, I'm saying to you, my brother, go get one now, one of those tickets. Do something wrong with all the tickets and put the ticket on the dashboard and see what happens in 2 hours. Just put it on the dashboard, In 2 hours or so, there's nothing on that ticket. It's a piece of paper.
Yeah.
I understand they're going to be addressing that, and I hope they do as quick as possible. Because persons are saying that you can't find the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is that the machine, the tickets from the machine, it's like when you go to a supermarket, they buy something, then give you, and within a few days or so, it's gone. But in a few hours,
yes,
you put it in the sun, the writing is gone. But we welcome them, and especially the body cam, because that will give a perfect reading of what happens on the road from the perspective of the police.
Yes.
Because we know what is going on out there as we speak, and we said it to the minister that the systems are not in place. The ticket is for $10,000. Either me give you or you asking for it, $5,000. Either me give you or you asking for it, which is wrong on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
But the society, the economy we live in, when a policeman is getting the pay them get right now, and you're going to give them like $5,000, I'm saying it's wrong, dead wrong. So let me put in the caveat. But let me tell you, corruption starts this morning.
Yes, yes.
It was bad enough, but a new wave of corruption starts this morning. The body cams, every policeman should have one. But I know the resources to bring it in bad. I think that it's only the P step should be in charge of dealing with people with handing out tickets. Only P step, or have ticket books.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
Okay.
And all those officers, a majority of those officers should have bad cams.
Yes, yes.
And for the taximan and the busman and the motorist, I am saying I'm going to make it official on Sunday, invest in a dash cam. Yeah. Have that on your dashboard.
Yes.
Very important.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
For crime, violence, anything, that will help you in court.
Yes.
So those three instruments are important, and I welcome them. But who can wear them for the police? The police have to put on this gauntlet for the men to wear it. And there's some good police officers out there. Don't make any fool of yourself about that. Good police who will wear them. But there are some, they don't want to see the daylight of it.
Yeah. You're having issues. You're having issues with the wreckers. Has that been dealt with? The former minister, when he was in, he put down his gauntlet in terms of the wrecking. So he went on a limb by himself to talk about the corruption in the wrecking system. Unfortunately, when he left, the whole program left with him. The new minister has not enforced, reinforced, or do anything with regards to that wrecking system. It's something that we have to take up again, because to me, there's a corruption between the wrecker owner, the wrecker staff, and the police. There's a problem there, and all we can do is talk about it because we can't show the evidence. But I have spoke to the wrecker companies
And when I put the cost to them, they say, mad, I said, $35,000 to move a vehicle in a radius of a mile. And I said, no, I'm lying. It's $8,000 and $12,000. Who's getting the other part of the money? You know, so we know there's major corruption there, but what we want to be in place, I think former Prime Minister Golden put it in place in 2010, that you should not wreck a man's tool of trade. Give him the tickets. Don't wreck his vehicle, except for, I think, about three areas where you don't wreck a man without a license. I remember it just now, but apart from that, but these police wreck your vehicle for any vehicle.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then
because there's something in it for them.
So, you were telling about the cost. So, for example, to wreck a vehicle from halfway tree, where will be the nearest pound for that?
Lindus Road.
Lindus Road, yes.
Lindus Road. And there are operators who were charged $35,000 when it should be $12,000.
Yes?
$35,000. And the owner of the record company said that is what he charged. But who gets the rest?
So who the money is paid to?
The money is paid to the record company. Some times ago, we used to pay the money to the Transport Authority.
Yes.
And that time, you used to get the right money used to be paid.
Yes.
And then the Transport Authority would hand over the money to the record company.
Yes, right.
Now you have to pay to the record company. So what they charge, you have to pay 5-6 times the amount of money. But
no, I don't. There's help me to understand. If the wrecker is charging $12,000, who the $30,000 is paid to?
To the wrecking company. And there are people who goes there on a Friday for the little envelope.
Yes.
From the wrecking company.
But Mr. Newman, hold on. You said the wrecking service said it is $12,000.
Yes.
So when a driver goes to the wrecking company to pay his wrecking fee,
yes,
how is it that he's paying $32,000 when it is $12,000? Who is collecting the $32,000?
That's a good question. It's paid right there at the company, collected by the staff of the company. I'm not telling you something where me goes, you know.
Yes.
I'm just telling you facts. And then the rest of the money is to be distributed to. But the company gets for their money. If it's they get their $12,000.
Yeah.
Who get the other $18,000? That's a good question.
No. So if a driver decides, say, listen, I'm not paying, I object, I'm not paying $32,000. They can't get there.
We have several drivers who object to it and go to Transport Authority, and the management of the Transport Authority sort it out for them. As a matter of fact, I tell you, the Transport Authority has paid back several money because when man start make up nice and they go to Transport Authority bring the papers to me and they refund some of those money. But on a whole, if you don't know what to do, a young man was coming to business or you're an old man don't know what to do, you have to pay those money.
No, that is crazy.
And this is going on for years. Yeah, it's not something that is overnight. It's going on for years now.
That is crazy.
And that's why transport people are so upset, because they believe the government is not doing anything for them. All these things are happening.
Yes, but if for example, the Ministry of Transport, I'm sure that you would have brought that to the attention of the ministry. The Ministry
I didn't get that. Come on, I didn't get that.
I'm sure that you would have brought that to the attention of the Minister of Transport.
Yes, absolutely.
And what has been his response to it?
As I said before, Minister Montague has put a stop to it.
Yes.
But when a new minister comes in, the whole thing starts over again. Mm-hmm. So this new Minister Shaw, has not put the pen to paper on that one. So it continues.
Yes, I see.
The wrecking of PPV under these conditions continue.
Yes, but this, This is serious corruption, man. Serious corruption.
It is.
Right? Now let us hope that this becomes something of the past, and with the new traffic laws, because
I'm happy you said that, because most of these laws are put out there to earn from. They're one-sided, one-sided laws, because nothing is put there for the private sector in terms of corruption. Everything put there for the driver or the owner or the taxi man. The corruption in certain places, I think there are some things in there for the Island Traffic Authority, yes. But in other places, like the wrecking situation, you should put a law there. The Transport Authority should set a list of rates, right? And they have been doing that, but it's not being utilized for wrecker companies. And just like how there are other things in the government that they have rates put down, can't go beyond that. There should be standard rates for these wrecking companies, right? Yeah. But it's not there, and we suffer the consequence of that.
No, this is outrageous. Outrageous. So, as it stands right now, sir, as you said, this Sunday, you'll be having a meeting to.
Yes, sir. I hope you can broadcast from the Cover Live. You get all the information at hand. Yes, but we'll be having a town hall there on Sunday. We invite not only transport operators, we invite the motorists to come and hear for themselves and see for themselves what is going to happen to them. Let me tell you one quickly. Let me tell you one problem we have in the transport sector. We fight to allow taxi to carry 4 passengers, 3 in the back, 1 in the front. You are saying to me in the present Road Traffic Act that I have to have a child restrained seat in my car, in my taxi. So you're saying to me now you're reducing my passenger by 25%. So I only can carry 3 passengers if I'm going to carry a child, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old. What can I charge?
No.
I will go to jail if I charge a 3-year-old, right? Or a 12-year-old full fare. A child restraint seat, something strapped and it control one entire seat.
Yes.
Okay? So how is that going to work? And so that's thing we have to look at. Although the Road Traffic Act is in place now, there are some things have to be reviewed now, because we're not going to take it lightly. We're not going to lose another 25% of our income. Yes. And when you just give us a 15% increase, it can't work.
Yes.
Right? So is either you're going to give us an increase, or you're going to say to us, listen, you don't have to use, which is safety is important. I can understand the safety part of it, but I'm not going to allow, because I should put a child restrained seat in my car, I must lose a passenger.
So a driver of a taxi driver can be ticketed for not having a child.
Yes, if you have a child in there, in a car without a child restraint facility, yes, you will be ticketed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yes.
So we do have a challenge, and there are others. There are others. The one with the light and your British stoplight, you the driver will go on scot-free, while the owner of the vehicle pay the penalty or do the time.
What?
So there are a couple of them that we have to address.
Educate me on that one. I mean, for breaking a stoplight, what did you say about that?
If you break the stoplight,
the driver,
you'll get a ticket. Yeah. And the ticket will go to the owner of the vehicle, not the driver, the driver, the owner of the vehicle. So the owner will have the responsibility. So let's say I rent a car company,
Yes.
And you come over from the United States and rent my car for 2 weeks, let's say.
Uh-huh.
And every day, everything you want to do from there, going to your parties and wherever you want to go, and break the stoplight 10, 15 times. And you come park the car, give me the car, and go about your business.
Yeah.
You the owner, have to pay all those
fines,
those tickets. Yes.
Yes. And what about?
If you don't pay, you can't do business.
And what about the taxi? If I have a taxi and
if you have a taxi or a bus and the driver decides he's going to break all the stoplights, 15, 16, 20 tickets, and then come park up in car and go on a Westbourne and go and drive for somebody else.
Yes.
You, the owner, will have to pay those tickets, or your license will not be renewed. If you don't pay tickets, you can go to jail.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So those are things that we have to look into.
Yeah.
But most persons don't understand the new road traffic act as yet. And just like what they didn't know, if they have one ticket, they will be in trouble yesterday and come down on the courts yesterday. They will understand now. And it's not just that alone.
Mm-hmm. But well, everybody never knew. But the minister made it clear that all tickets that were issued before the 18th of February 2018 would be invalid.
Yeah. Absolutely, that is good. Yes, that is true.
Right. So,
and if you go up on the courts, points won't you won't be attracted to the demerits points. That is also good.
Yeah, no. So those the only tickets that are valuable now. The only tickets that people can get in problems are tickets that were issued after February 2018.
Yes, up until now.
Yes.
What I'm saying, if you have been up to the courts and have those adjudicated, or you have a date to go and pay them, or you have your document stamped, or you did do an email into the customer service at what's the name of the place now? You're okay. The demerit points would not attracted to you.
Yes.
But if it did not go nowhere, if you sit on your house and say, well, our court got dealing ticket, you did not go, then you're in for a warm time, because the points will be attracted to you now when you go to pay, and you could lose your license. Yes,
and if you don't pay, if you have those outstanding tickets, if
today, this afternoon, you did not go to court to deal with your ticket, and the police know you have an outstanding ticket, and he touch base with you, he just take you in,
No, but they can't take you in without a warrant.
But the warrant can, listen now, every ticket now, every ticket now, after the 21, I think 30 days now, attract a warrant immediately.
Yeah, yes. No, I'm not talking about a fresh ticket, A fresh receipt.
The new act provides for that, the new today.
Yeah.
So if you have a ticket last year, 2020, and you did not go and address it, it will now attract it can attract now a warrant. A motherfucker heard. I was wondering about it. I heard the head of traffic said yesterday morning that if you have a ticket and it's here today, you can be arrested for that ticket if you did not go into the courts and deal with it.
Yeah, but the police can't arrest you for a ticket unless they have a warrant.
That was my consideration, but I heard him say it yesterday morning.
No, I don't think he's right. The police will have to have a warrant. They can't just arrest you for
that is what I know.
Yeah, they can't arrest you.
I knew.
Remember, what would you be arrested for?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah,
you could be arrested for having an outstanding ticket, but as you rightly said, they should be arrested on a warrant for an outstanding ticket.
The court. Remember, it's the court, and before the law was amended, it's the court that issued warrants. It's not the police.
Yes.
Right. The court. Right.
You have to have, up to yesterday, you have to have a warrant to be arrested by the police.
Yeah, and that still obtains. The police have to have a warrant to arrest you. They can't just look at you and arrest you like that.
I think that is something we have to look into, because now that you say it, you're repeating it. There's some concerns there.
Yes.
But based upon what he said, we'll have that rectified on Sunday, because, of course, the law says to be arrested, you have to have a warrant.
Yeah.
You can have 100 tickets and you don't have a warrant, you can't be arrested.
No.
But what I know, within the electronic system, will provide a warrant right after the time for you to pay it. at the tax office is over.
Yeah, right. Yes. The new system will make those things more efficient,
Yes.
right? And also, the other issue is that if you don't pay the ticket, then you won't be able to renew your license.
That is true. Yes.
Right. So that will also be an issue for you. All right.
Yeah.
So going forward, those are the things that the new system is supposed to address, to make those things more efficient, so that you don't have, because you know something, Mr. Newman.
Yes.
One of the things I couldn't understand, like when somebody have 200 unpaid tickets, you know, I don't understand that. I don't understand that.
No, but you should understand, because the government admit that there were flaws in the system. The system was not right. There was a no-care attitude in the system. There was no coordination between the three agencies, the tax office, the traffic department, and the courts. And so a man could amass 200, 300, 400 tickets. And the worst thing is when you go to pay the tickets and tickets return as unpaid. And so a low person said, Chuck, why makes sense I go and pay a ticket and get it back as unpaid? So, and there was no system in place for the warrants to be prepared after 21 days, right? And so understand that system is in place now, the automatic system. But policemen just move around from parish to parish and from area to area and forgot to put in the system in place to have the tickets, the warrants written. And sometimes the warrants are written and thrown in a corner in like a box until a Friday evening come when a policeman decides to hand out some warrants, or a holiday, or a day when he needs some funds to himself. You know, the system was broken. The government admit that. And, you know,
There was a report yesterday with one driver, a bus driver, who said he had 500 unpaid tickets.
Yeah. Is it 500 or 289 or something?
500. That's what I read in the papers.
He,
right.
He wasn't alone. There are several persons. There's a guy who had 870 tickets. A motherfucker, he paid them. They come back as unpaid.
He paid off.
The lawyer, he paid all of them, every single one.
Yeah.
Huh? And they came back as unpaid. So, you know, and the figures given by government, I don't remember them, but they are so wrong. So wrong.
Yes.
Because most of them are paid for already. But they pull on a system and say all these tickets. No.
So
most of them paid for. But they come back as
so for example, now I heard the spokesman from the court was saying that motorists who have paid their tickets and they have returned to them as unpaid, they should prepare them, provide them with the information, and they will be dealt with. I wonder how efficient that.
I can't hear that well, but there's a new system that came out 2-3 weeks ago that should show you only the tickets that you have beyond 2018, and only those tickets also that are not yet paid. Right, that's a new system. 99.9%. Minister Chuck, was it? Minister Chang, Security Minister, said it is 99.9% foolproof.
Yeah.
So there will be no mistake on those. But I have heard in Spanish Town where people pay the ticket and they come back as unpaid, and a new system. You know, so I don't know. I really.
Boy, let us hope that you know, this new system will clear up. You know, let us hope that it is a more efficient system that will avoid all of these problems, because we can't go forward as a country with these little problems.
You are so correct. You're so correct.
Yes.
And if the government notice that the system is not correct, pause, tell the nation, talk to us. Don't wait until it festers and people start, the taximan say they want to strike, they want to demonstrate. If there's a challenge, you heard about challenge, check it out now and address it before it goes further. That's all we're saying.
Yes.
This is why we're asking for time, for more time. Because we know there are problems there, because we are on the ground and we know. But the government decided they're going to go ahead. So, all right, they're going ahead now, but let's hope that it's right. And most importantly, ensure that the environment in which we operate as a public transport operator, it is safe for us. It is secure for us with all the amenities inside there.
I also recall you last year talking about
only can find 50% of their drivers. Most of them lose their license. Most of them opted to go away because it made no sense. Right? So we have lost a number of drivers, and there's no system in place to replace them with trained, qualified drivers. And so we're having that challenge as we speak. I know there are 3 garages right now in Kingston, several buses parked, no drivers. And my vice president, she have a company, and she has to be driving the bus herself.
Yes.
No driver. So we do have a challenge there.
Yes.
And we are hoping that we have a program, but it needs to be financed and endorsed by government, so we can get some drivers on the road.
Yes, because this must impact the public transportation system.
Absolutely.
Yes, because first of all, the JUTC is short of buses. So they can fill the void left there by those empty seats.
No.
Right.
And we can't take a taximan to go and drive a bus, because we will put ourselves in trouble. And we want to learn drivers, qualified drivers, to drive the buses. And so I don't see no owner will take up his bus and give it to a taximan. Not to say that they can't drive it, but we really want persons with experience to be placed around the wheels.
Yes, this is certainly a problem right now, yes. And because some of the drivers you say who have lost their licenses, so they don't have licenses, and some have gone away.
Yeah.
And the train there's
they've gone away because there's nothing in the public transport sector to hold them. It's a meager income they have, right? And some of them, they have to leave the business because they know that they are running the business at dry to survive, and then the owner's not getting anything because the owner want, they say 20,000 per day for a bus, and they can't make more than 22,000, so they do some illegal things to run the stoplight, the drive on the stop, they do every single thing, and they amass a number of tickets, and they don't have to go on underground.
Wow. This is certainly problematic, Mr. Newman. Yes. Well, I want to thank you very much for your time, sir. And let us hope that things will improve on all sides. So the investors, the drivers, the passengers, because this is certainly a very critical area. And without public transportation, it is going to have a serious impact all around.
Our immediate job is education, information, and training for the sector.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for having me, my brother. All the best. You take care.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jitan Newman.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That we were talking about transportation and the impact that a lack of transportation will have. Sorry. Yes, this is something that must be addressed, because if that is not addressed, we can certainly expect to have some problems in the sector this year. This is one of the areas that requires immediate attention, and we only hope that the government, will do what is necessary from its side, right? And the transport investors, they will do what is necessary from their side. in order to ensure that we address this problem. We can't continue as is. Certainly not. Certainly not. You know, I was listening to the news today, and one of the thing is that we have for the month of January we had 91 murders. 91 murders. Now, this is something that we have to address. But we'll find some time to talk about that some more in some other programs. We are going to take a break now, and we're planning for our next program, which is food security. That will be coming up shortly. Stay tuned.
All is done for me. He paid the price for me. I was blind, but now I see. He was fair, just in time to rescue me. Oh, he was there, just in time to rescue me. Oh, he was there, yes he was, to rescue me. Times in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I have to carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have failed. You need to borrow, for no one can feel none of your needs that you won't mention. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Please, there is a load you have to pay that you can't carry. I'm right up the road and I share your load. If you just call me, yeah. Hold on, yeah. When you need a breath, call on me. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I have to carry on, for it won't be long This is for the little child without a father, for that man that doesn't have a place to stay, for that little boy living with hate. This is my story. There's a man standing on the corner. He has no home, he has no food, and his blue skies are gone. Can you hear him cry? Oh Lord, there's a girl searching for a father and a friend, praying that the storm will someday end. But instead of walking away, open up your heart and say, I am here. You don't have to worry, I can see your tears. I'll be there in a hurry when you call. Friends are there to catch you when you fall. Ease my shoulder, you can lean on me. Well, there's a child who is sick and begging to be free, but there is no cure for his disease. He looked up to his mother as she holds his hand, praying that someday the sun will shine again and the pain will end. I am here. You don't have to worry, I can see your tears. I'll be there in a hurry when you call. Friends are there to catch you when you fall. Here's my shoulder, you can lean on me. Tell me how can I love Jesus when I never seen his face? Yet if I see you dying, I wouldn't turn and walk away. So hold my hand and let me take you to a friend of mine who is waiting just to ease your troubled mind. He loves you more than you'll ever know. Instead of walking away, open up your heart and say, there's a man standing on the corner. He has no home, he has no food, and his blue skies are gone. Can you hear him cry? Oh Lord, I am here. You don't have to worry, I can see your tears. I'll be there in a hurry when you call. Friends are there to catch you when you fall. I'm living for Jesus. Living for Jesus. Living for Jesus. Yeah. Oh, I wanna be remembered as a man who sings songs for Jesus Christ, who was willing to lay down his life, do his will no matter what the price. Well, I'm singing for the deaf man who can hear about salvation through my song. And I'm singing for the blind man who can see the light in me and come along. Live for Jesus, that's what matters. And when other houses crumble, mine be strong. Live for Jesus, that's what matters. Let you see the light in me and come along. La 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 la. There are times when I am tempted to turn off the rugged road that traveled on. There are times when I say, Jesus, can you find another man to sing your song? Well, I know I'm not the only one that could sing this melody. chosen me to bless me and to lead me. La 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 la. Oh, I wanna be remembered as a man who sings songs for Jesus Christ, who was willing to lay down his life, do his will no matter what the price. Live for Jesus, that's what matters. That when other houses crumble, might be strong. Live for Jesus, that's what matters, yeah. That you see the light in me and come along. Live for Jesus, that's what matters. And when other houses crumble, mine be strong. Live for Jesus, that's what matters, yeah. That you see the light in me and come along. That you see the light in George and come along. That you see the light in me and come along. That you see the light in me and come along. That you see the bright shining light and come along. That you see the light in me and come along. Come along. That you see the light in me. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. I'm so glad you came to save us. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. I'm so glad you came to save us.
Here with a message to you from myself and the Ministry of Health.
Yes, yes, yes. Welcome back to Rebel Radio. I am Desmond Richards. And this time on a Wednesday, we go to our program called Food Security. And this evening we have with us Dr. Omer Thomas and Mr. Hugh Johnson. Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening, Desmond.
Yes.
Good evening, Doc. Good evening.
Good evening, Johnson.
Yes, yes. And gentlemen, this is our first encounter since the start of the new year. Will based on where both of you are sitting and what both of you know, is that, do you think that this year will be a better year for the farming community and for farming in general in Jamaica?
Well, let us hope that this year will bring us some prosperity in terms of increased production and productivity in the agricultural sector. And I'm hoping that this year we'll see the blooming of the blossom from the energy and flow that has been put into the diversification and the development of the sector by the minister's policies.
Yes.
I have no doubt that some of the things that the minister and his technical team were putting together, at least we would be able to see some of the fruit this year, especially in the first quarter.
Yes.
So I'm also hopeful, Doc, but unfortunately, we have used prosperity in Jamaica. That prosperity has not been such a hopeful word nowadays, but I would really love to see those programs that is being rolled out to see so that we can participate and assess whether or not they are working, because we still have a great difficulty with our legislator being our chief importer. And for that reason, I believe we are armstrong with imported items that I'm sure we can, if the right policy and energy is put into it, we can supply it here ourselves with ease.
Yes.
So I'm hopeful that those programs and policies will engender some degree of growth for not only for the suitcase man, the briefcase importer, but for the hard-working farmers of this country who have been holding the brunt of the pressure for quite a while now.
Yeah, and I know what I'm about to say probably is not both of you, in not your portfolios, in other words. But I saw some troubling signs, and this is I don't know what the public sector had to do with this. I'm talking about 400 cows that are starving, dying at UC Rosal Farm. I don't understand this. That over the years that farm has produced good cattle. So what is behind that? What is happening there now?
Based on the little I know about that,
yes,
and the historical knowledge that I have with the management of this matter by the UC Rosal, is that they caught the government by surprise. Because I must say that a couple of years ago, I was in another seat where we had to take strident action in order to have UC Rosal maintaining and keeping the livestock that they have in good order for the maintenance of our livestock population to supply milk and beef. The cattle population to supply milk and beef.
Oh. So,
you see? So what was happening is that whenever there is a sanction on Russia, okay, and certain things cannot be done, and money cannot flow in a particular direction to deal with their working capital and those type of things, then there are certain casualties. And it happened that livestock portfolio of the UC Rosal operation is a casualty.
Oh.
See, that was when it was into a couple of years ago, and I believe that has something to do with this time also.
Yes. Oh, I see. So those cattle might be victims of the Russia-Ukraine war.
Ukraine war.
Wow. Well, I see where the government has decided to take over the cattle and to ensure that they are treated properly.
And yes, and believe me, the government had plans were in place long ago in order to take those over.
Yes.
That was from the first time. So now that something has happened, they have whatever it takes now to put in the necessary program in place to take over these animals.
Yeah. You know, something I would like both of you to explain for me. I see from the Ministry of Agriculture last year information that food production, and we're talking about last year, was increased over the year before. But then I'm asking myself, if the production of and food is up, then why is it scarce, and why are prices so high? I don't.
Mr. John, the man on the ground when it comes on to pricing and those type of things. Let me hear what he has to say about that one.
Sergio, yes.
I would answer in this regard. One, the method of calculation has changed, and that is what I would refer to as funny maths, because some funny maths you're able to get more from less, and I believe that is just one of the modality that is influencing that report, not the production, but the report. Notwithstanding, it is trying time, challenging time. Import has gone through the roof as it relates to even the price based upon the geopolitical tension around and also even shipping costs. So that will force a few disposable income into the sector. And I believe that could be one of the reasons why. But also, I know to be a fact of the methodology that has been employed that is giving that impression. Notwithstanding, farmers are resilient and they are not giving up, because in spite of we are being removed from productive land, we are unable to adequately irrigate our crops. Challenges with the vagaries of the weather, not consistent as we used to. Farmers are resilient and we are pulling through. And we are asking for sound good policy to be put in place, because I believe it will only get worse and we need to be prepared for it.
Yes, yes. I don't see any sign of, for this, certainly for this year. You gentlemen might, well, you know more than me, so but I don't see any signs this year that is there to indicate that there will be a reduction on our food import bill this year. Am I incorrect?
If I may take the liberty that based upon the pricing, even though the monetary figure might increase, the volume could also decrease, you know. So if you're gonna measure it by volume of import, you might realize that even though the unit value has increased in cost, but the volume of goods would have decreased because of the sharp increase in
prices.
Commodity prices.
Yes. Right.
Okay. Well, you see that may have some merit. But also there are certain other. You see, we are looking at vegetables and those things, domestic crops. But if we look at other things, the infrastructure is being worked on, I'm told. And I have no doubt, and Mr. Johnson will agree with me, that the infrastructure is being worked on in order to support the production that is required. So let us look and see the fruits that are coming from the laying out of the infrastructure, or to develop the infrastructure. Because we know, Mr. Johnson, the research programs have been augmented at the research stations throughout the country, principally at Bodles. Okay? Mm-hmm. And the results are coming out, I'm told. And I see where I see the programs that are being laid out. And I see the effort that they are putting in. No. Let us see. That's why I'm saying in the first quarter is where I'm expecting to see some form of fruit. If we don't see the fruit, then we have to go back and look at what it is that we put in the development of the infrastructure for the production of the food product.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But as you will agree that there are some food items that we will in the short and medium term, Jamaica will have to import those food.
We must import, of course. We have no alternative but to do that. Because remember, as I said before some time ago, we have a tourist industry. We have to feed our tourists when they come.
Yes.
Okay. And we have a manufacturing industry, a food processing industry that require raw material that we don't have.
Yes.
So we definitely have to do that while we take the necessary steps to mitigate some of that problems brought on by the importation. But we will never be able to produce the amount of raw material in order to satisfy the processing requirements for our people to have processed food over a long period of time in Jamaica, and also to export. You see?
If I may, Doc and Desmond, I wish that I could be as optimistic as Doc. I do see some effort, mostly in PR, which it's not against, because agriculture needs to be sexy like any other industry.
Yes.
So we need some level of PR to get it there. But I would rather see more emphasis being placed on, if the topic that we are discussing is food security.
Yes.
How will we engender food security? By not being dependent on imports for survival. There is no country that is an island that there won't be a great need for some level of importation.
Mm-hmm.
But like crops that we have mastered here or have a competitive advantage in, we seem to be ignoring the fact that those can be ramped up and the necessary research and development and also facilitation. Mm-hmm. Because we talk about farming or agriculture or ramping up the program. The main roads in Jamaica are terrible. Can you imagine the farm roads? There is absolutely, I would say, of the 100% farm roads that we have, probably 20% can be used adequately without you suffering severe loss or damage to your crop or to your produce on getting it out. So those are some of the fundamentals that no matter how you PR, no matter how you throw money at it, without the fundamentals are right, we won't get there. So we need to go back to basics. That is the simple thing that I ask of. Mm-hmm. We look on irrigation as a serious issue in securing our production. We demonize the microdam project that was on, but we come back now with the same microdam and call it water harvesting. Mm-hmm. Whether or not that is politics, but we need to put great emphasis on those areas of that means much. If we look on the commodities, all the commodities are down. Every single one. Cocoa is dead. Coffee is limping. Coconut still has a little life support from a private sector entity. If all of them, cane is non-existent. So what is the program? Since we are destroying what we had, what is the program? Where are we going? Where the emphasis is? Those are questions that need to be asked but answered by both the ministry and the technocrats within the ministry.
I like your erudite presentation, Mr. Johnson, but let us look at it this way, though. Let us look at it this way. I want to give the government and the minister and his technocrats a fair chance. We want to give them a fair chance, and we're going to give them a chance. But one thing I want to say to you is that the PR programs that they have are not the type of PR program that we have that would instill some form of confidence in the agricultural sector. That is the criticism I have. Because matters relating to what they are actually doing in terms of the development and the support of the production and the production programs are not communicated to the public. I can tell you that. Not communicated properly to the public. Yeah. Because if you look at what is happening at borders now, the renewed borders, things that are happening at borders, the public don't even know that it is happening. And that is why I'm saying, let us, if the first quarter we don't see any blossoming, then we can start taking out our cricket bat and bounce the ball all over the pitch.
Yes.
Well, but I'm glad for that. Because I am one of those who have been crying out for R&D for decades. Yeah. When Minister Green was there, I see he made certain push in that direction. But since he has left, I have not heard much about it. I don't know if how successful the program is. Mm-hmm. And then again, I'm also of the impression, and one's perception is his reality. Whether it's correct or not, a man's perception is his reality. And that is my perception as it relates to being in the agricultural industry and seeing it. Mm-hmm. Enough emphasis is not being placed on agriculture from a governmental standpoint. You need to get the buy-in of the Prime Minister and all his programs. You need to get the buy-in of the Finance Minister, coupled with the effort and expertise of the Agriculture Ministry to get us there. It can't be just an Agricultural Ministry program. And based upon the budgetary allocation, I'm not convinced that the government have their headspace in the right direction to move agriculture in the right direction that it needs to go and to support the hard-working farmers of this country.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Gentlemen, Mr. Johnson, earlier on you spoke about the commodities, some of the primary commodities, agricultural commodities were down. You mentioned them. I mean, sugar cane, we know, is down. Cocoa. The main export crops that were at one time our primary exporting crops, most of them are down now. So what are we when the Ministry of Agriculture says that agricultural input has increased? What are some of the crops that he's talking about? That would be what? The grown provisions, vegetables?
Yes, domestic food crops and so.
Yeah.
Domestic food crops.
Yes.
Because to deal with matters of those the old-time orchard crops, we call them traditional crops, it requires some amount of investment, eh?
Yes.
And to establish now, to re-establish fields and to expand fields, the capital cost is high. The availability of credit is low. Okay? So you're not going to have that won't be as sexy as it is to grow onions, where after 4 months you can make almost 90% return on your investment.
Yes.
You see? So those are some of the realities that we have to look at. So the investment climate has to be dealt with. How do we make the investment climate more attractive to people who would invest in those things that require heavy capital input at the beginning and a long gestation period before harvesting?
Yes, that is.
If I may answer that, Doc.
Yes.
One of the fundamentals that we are having challenges with the government agency that is in charge of the land is even the security of tenure. How can you be expected to go orchard crop and you're getting a 5-year lease on government land?
Well, to me, those are simple little things that you can just back those away quickly, because it was foolish for anybody to even think that way. So therefore, Mr. Johnson, I believe that if the powers that be are told that this is really a disincentive to agriculture, I think they will move it quickly. But you see, you have agencies. You have agencies that are responsible for the leasing of public land for agriculture.
Yes.
Who do not even have one competent or one certified agriculturalist working among their staff. And I speak of the STJ Holdings Limited.
Yes.
From top to bottom, they're all neophytes. From top to bottom, they're all neophytes. So it is not strange that they will offer you 10 acres of land to lease for 5 years to grow a crop that takes 4 years before you can start getting the first bearing.
So how do they expect? How do they expect? They are not serious. I don't think they are serious.
It's not that they are not serious, you know. Their agenda isn't ours. They are in development. They are building houses instead of agriculture. And that is why I say I believe we need to have a greater input from both the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance for us to at least start to look seriously at transforming the landscape that we have as it relates to agriculture and go into, as a Jamaican traveling over the world, people are puzzled by our flavor profile in this country. And that is a serious and beneficial competitive advantage we have. And we are leaving it to rot to the dogs and pursuing stupidity, foolishness that can't take us far. So I must agree with you that what we need to do is to have people who understand what they're doing and not just people who shuffling papers and fooling around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Dr. T,
yes, sir.
What impact do you think this recent decision by the African Export-Import Bank to put up $1.5 billion in credit for CARICOM nations? You think how that you think can impact the growth of agriculture in Jamaica?
In Jamaica. Let's say for Jamaica.
Yes.
Well, yes, it is for the African diaspora in the Caribbean.
Yes.
And I believe that it can, if Jamaica is in the best position to benefit from it of all the countries in the Caribbean, of all the English-speaking countries in the Caribbean.
Yes.
In the best position. And once that the mechanisms have been worked out for the utilization of the fund, for trade, for primary production, and for infrastructural development, I think Jamaica will benefit from it. Believe me. Mm-hmm. Once the thing is put in place, because there's one thing I can tell you about the people in Jamaica. Once they see the availability of financing to do their agricultural production, they are out front.
Yes.
And this is not the first time this is not the first time that we'll be seeing deliberate effort by a foreign entity to support our agriculture. And remember, the first time we had something like that, we we did take advantage. We did take advantage. Our export was up, local production was up. So, and our agriculture grew, the GDP grew.
Mm-hmm.
So, which one is happening here, though, in support? Yes, sir.
May I disclose that the state of the African diaspora that deals mostly with those issues, I should let you know that I'm an executive member of that body.
Yes.
Okay.
And not only the Afro-Exim Bank, but I can tell you of 3 other entities as we speak who they are willing and they are asking for an opportunity to do some investment in this part of among the diaspora. And not only are they offering interest-free loan, but non-recourse loan.
That's right. That's right.
Oh,
but then again, if there's non-recourse loan, Mr. Johnson, why is it that okay? Is it that well known to the investing public in agriculture?
Well, that is what you is saying. You is saying that the appropriate measures, mechanism are not in place. That is one of the points that he has made. Yes,
true. If that is in place, then it will be taking very full advantage, much greater advantage.
I can go further now and to say that the president of the African Financial Regulatory Authority, AFRA, is somebody who twice monthly I have regular meetings with him. And that is their request, their mantra, their aim, their ambition to be able to help the diaspora. Because as you know that the African diaspora has become the 6th region of Africa now. From the 91 Abuja Treaty established that fact. So it's not just talking.
Yes.
So there are glorious opportunities, and I must tell you that the cocoa industry in Jamaica, because I'm an integral part in that industry and also the World Cocoa Farmers Organization, which I'm the vice president of.
Yes.
I've gone for not much, about $10 million to resuscitate the cocoa industry.
Yes.
And can I tell you that over 6 to 16 months now, that was given, and because of the bottleneck of Jackra, I would never start implementing that program under these conditions.
Okay, but I tell you though, that needs to be looked at. The whole matter of Jackra needs to be looked at because it's a pain in the critical area of our agricultural development, especially tree crops. I think Jackra is being implemented in a manner which it was never intended to be.
I must tell you that I was one of the first to support the principle of a Jackra, but the regulation, it's not business friendly, it's punitive, it goes everything, it offers everything that is anti-business, anti-production, or productivity. They're just believing in collecting cess, living big, and import and collect the cess from the import, and we're all suffering for that.
But so, that entire Jackra institution and law needs to be revisited. And it was supposed to be revisited long before it was even implemented. Long before it was implemented, because I published articles about that Jackra issue before even the institution was even formed.
Yes.
So and nothing. The government hastily went and put the administrative programs in place to bring the institution into a reality and start crippling the people's business. A lot of farmers went to the government and explained why the Jackra institution is more punitive than supportive, and it fell on deaf ear. Deaf ear. There was a former permanent secretary known as Donovan Stanberry, who clearly disrespected the farmers of the commercial farmers of Jamaica when they raised objections to how the Jackra could affect them, long before the thing was put into law. Long before.
Well, I must tell you that the last meeting that I was invited to, before it was implemented, I refused to go because I think outside of the cocoa farmers in Jamaica, you were the only one I was hearing saying that it can't work. Everybody else they were fast asleep until it was implemented and they see the real effect on them. That is when they were crying out. Yeah. But we saw it coming along before it was put in.
I saw it long before because that Jackra Act is a confusing and recondite process.
It's worse than slavery.
I tell you, it is. I don't know why. I don't know why the people with common sense sit down and allow that to go through. And it is because we have lazy politicians in Parliament. That's it. Let us call it spade a spade. Lazy politicians in Parliament.
Then gentlemen,
as if they want to tick off something and say, that's done. A, B, C, C is done. A to go. A comes. A done. Without realizing what the quality of A should be or the quality of C and the effect and the impact upon the society.
So, gentlemen, whose responsibility it is to fix Jackra?
The Ministry of Agriculture. It is in their portfolio.
And they are aware that it is not working.
And
well, I have not discussed it. I have not discussed it with this new minister, but all the previous ministers across administration I've complained to. I've written probably 7-8 letters pertaining to that, even with suggestions. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't know the challenge that we're having, and people who should be bright, how simple they are as it relates to basic 1-2. I must share with you that Jackra had 4 chairmen before it could start operating, because once they got there and see what they are expected to preside over, mm-hmm. they left before they even begin because they said this won't work, it can't work. Yeah. And you can, I think before it got off the ground, Richard Pandue from Seprad was the last chairman. You can talk to him on it because he knows some of those hurdles that must be cleared before it can even think of doing what it was intended to do and not to cripple the agriculture industry in Jamaica.
But gentlemen, we have to...
It begs the question, is it a deliberate ploy to feed us with plastic food and to kill the agriculture industry, or what?
Am I saying we're stretching it a bit, Mr. Johnson? Should I say that? I hear you, but that's the extreme. But it is intended to cause the Jamaican farmers to pay for the administrative machinery of the Ministry of Agriculture. That's what it is.
But this sound like something that is that cannot be good for our agriculture. It cannot be good for our agriculture at all. And
then when we are strong enough, we want to say it is the farmers of Jamaica who are declining to invest in and to rehabilitate their orchards and to develop the tree crop industry. Mm-hmm. We blame the farmers. They can't blame the farmers when you have this kind of albatross around your neck.
Yes. And I can't see why the Ministry of Agriculture would support something like this. I just can't see. But so one of the things that gentlemen, we would like to do, and I'm going to seek your assistance to it, is how to get the Ministry of Agriculture to address an issue like this, because if what Mr. Johnson is saying, that there's money available to resuscitate some food crops, and because of bureaucracy, problems in the way that farmers are unable to access this money in order to carry out the rehabilitation, then this is something that we must do something to stop this.
That is why we are saying that, and I agree with Mr. Johnson, that the Prime Minister needs to show a little bit more interest in the food sovereignty in this country.
Yes, because this year is a real action year for us, 2023. 2023 is a year where Jamaica must make some fundamental changes.
Yeah, it should be.
We must attack crime.
Let's see what is going to happen.
We must attack crime, and for example, the farmers' pre-deal lasting must be reduced this year, right? We must make a fundamental step on food imports this year. There are some fundamental issues that we must be addressed this year, and therefore we have to do what is necessary to do to achieve these things, right? We can't continue next year. We mustn't go over into 2024 in the same position in which we are now as it relates to the food. We can't do that. What is the situation, gentlemen, with, say, for example, like with in the pork industry? How are we doing there? Are we making sensible headway? In other words, to improve the quality and to increase production there? Are we doing that? I think we are self-sufficient with chicken. Correct me if I'm wrong. But when it comes down to beef and pork, we are half target. How can we address these areas?
That's a curveball one.
Yeah.
You see, that should be in a better position to answer that, because I must tell you that I've been into all type of farming except piggery.
Okay.
I know that is an area that he is in some time ago. He was in some time ago. I don't know if he's still there.
I was there, and I was there in a very big way. But I had to leave it for a number of reasons that are not necessarily technical.
Yeah.
Not necessarily technical. But I had to do some work when I was sitting in another chair somewhere else on the whole matter relating to the pig industry. And there are some structural problems that can be easily addressed by policy of the state. Easily. But everybody seems to be scared of touching the hot rod. Everybody. And the matter of highway criminality is worse than pre-deal larceny. That is affecting the pig industry.
Yes?
Yes.
Doc, I have been making this suggestion for quite some time ago. About 20 years ago, I was able to make a tour of Canada and to examine their agricultural industry. So, in depth.
Yes.
And you know that it's a policy in Canada. If you want to import egg in the country, the only persons who can do that is the Egg Farmer Association.
Yep.
If you want to import banana in the country, the only person that will get the permit to do that is the Banana Growers Association or the group of banana farmers and so on and so forth. If we cut out this briefcase importer, like many of our legislators have become importers. If we get rid of that system and allow the potato farmer to do the import, do you think that the potato farmer will import 10 containers if it's only 2 containers they need for the shortfall?
If there is discipline among those farmers, because if once they see an opportunity to import, the lazy mentality will set in and they will want to import rather than produce.
No, it's not the farmer, individual farmer, it's the association.
The association as a body, as a league.
As a body.
Yes.
And that system works very well. Even look on the 08 crisis. Of the countries around, Canada was the least affected by it. And for many reasons, because of certain policy position that they hold and they stick to. We can do the same. Remember, we used to have this peak and trough in egg production in Jamaica, and we push until the Egg Farmers Association got the opportunity to import egg. Don't you see it settled off?
Yes, yes.
Why can't we try that with the chicken? Give the importation of chicken parts back, whatever, to the chicken growers. Give the importation of whatever commodity to whichever group of farmers producing that locally. They will not import more than is required.
Because I don't think they would want to sink their own business.
No, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And no one will listen because it doesn't suit the legislature because they are benefiting from it. And that must stop. We must call for a halt to that program.
Yeah.
And politicians importing the stuff that they would sit in parliament and to legislate and to guide for growth.
Yep.
In the nation.
And therefore, it is clear that if that system continues, then the chance of us reducing our import bill on food will become more difficult, because if those who are supposed to push for a reduction are actually earning from it, then they are going to be reluctant to knock breads out of their pockets.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
It's conflict of interest.
Yes. Yes.
There's no other name we can call it.
It is conflicting. Mm-hmm. And that is why, Mr. Johnson, we both agree, and I think most persons in agriculture would agree, that the Prime Minister needs to show a little bit more interest in our food sovereignty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know if we if we don't see. I'm sure the farmers must see this, and I'm sure the leaders must recognize this too, that the country cannot afford. How much longer are we going to find $1 billion US every year to buy food? I don't think that is something that is sustainable.
It's not. It's unsustainable.
Right? So therefore, it should be in everybody's interest to do something to stop that or to reduce that as fast as we can. Right? Now, you keep talking about, you raised this issue about irrigation. How serious is that problem to farmers in Jamaica? Mr. Johnson?
It is very serious. That is why we have glut and shortage. Because when we have rain, you'll have farmers congregating on a particular crop.
Yes.
And when there's drought, there's no planting because you can't plant. While if you have sustainable irrigation, you can plant accurately and even be consistent in your supply, because it would leave to just your management and your plant to be able to do that. While if you're going to depend on the vagaries of the weather, it is uncertain, unpredictable.
Yeah.
So I'm sure just as how we have electricity in every corner of this country and telecommunication, broadband in every corner, we can have irrigation because Jamaica is a land of wood and water. And it can pay for itself over time. So we should pursue that vigorously and stop destroying the irrigated agricultural lands and put in more instead of reducing what we have.
I can't agree with you more.
Yeah.
I can't agree with you more. And while we go abroad and beg to come and invest in irrigation infrastructure in Jamaica, we are destroying what exists already.
Yes, yes. Now, gentlemen, what the banana, the production of banana? Where are we with that right now?
The banana industry was destroyed long ago. Okay, export banana industry. And I tell you, we are being held up by a few medium-sized and small banana farmers to supply our ripe banana requirement here and to supply banana for our vegetables, cooked green bananas, and for the little for making chips by the small agro-processors. Okay, now we have the big player in the past. The big player. That big player is by operating in a way that is threatening to destroy the small farmers. Threatening to destroy them.
Okay. So, as far as banana restoration, or to bring back the banana industry to a point where we can start export and produce more things from banana.
No, but look at what is happening now. The few small and medium-sized farmers who are keeping our banana industry alive,
yes,
are being wiped out by certain anti-competitive action by big players.
Okay.
Recently, Mr. Johnson, I don't know if you have been told about this yet, but the small and medium-sized farmers who normally supply ripe bananas to the major hotel chains on the North Coast and around Jamaica are now put under tremendous pressure to reduce the prices that they are getting from the hotels and for the contracts that they have with the hotels to be discharged because of their inability to drop the price by 30 and 40% as being offered by the larger player.
You mean the larger players are offering the product at cheaper prices? That's what you're saying?
Could you repeat? I'm sorry.
Is that the larger players are offering the products at cheaper prices?
Much cheaper price below the cost of production of the small farmers and the medium-sized farmers.
I see.
And it is common knowledge that the small farmers cannot sell their banana products into one of the major supermarket chains in Jamaica. Cannot, because of the relationship with one of the bigger farmers. And of course they will not buy from the smaller farmer. They have to buy from the larger farmer.
Okay, I see.
I must say too, in addition to what Doc has just said, just like how we have the banks in their collusion in suppressing productivity, production, and milking the lifeblood of small operators in this country. You have a coming together of certain friends, families, as it relates to the larger players who are doing the same in agricultural pursuit.
Mm-hmm.
So it is for us to use policies. Policy is the only safeguard we have against this oligopoly as it relates to what Doc has just pointed out. And it's not easy. And even if you were able to manage to beat the odds against those, you have the regulatory authority. Because did you know that based upon the letter of the regulation, if you grow bananas in your backyard, ripen them, and sell them at your gate, you can be charged?
Yeah, that's right.
You
can be
charged for what? Charged for what?
In prison.
Charged for what? For selling ripe bananas?
We don't like that law because you have to get a specific license to do that.
To sell ripe bananas? To sell ripe bananas?
I'm telling you.
You need a license to sell ripe bananas?
Or to even grow banana in areas where they say you can't grow it.
No, this is ridiculous.
Or can I share with you that the first draft of that JACRA regulation had in it that in order to be classified as a farmer, you must produce a police record?
Yes. And you have to pass the integrity test. And an integrity test.
And we fought tooth and nail. I said the last time I was invited to the last meeting, I refused to go. I said it makes no sense.
Yeah. It said, let me just remind you what it said. It said that for you to qualify as a licensed farmer to grow banana, coconut, or not coconut at the time, banana, coffee, cocoa, and those things, you would have to be a fit and proper test to include morality considerations.
I'm not applying for the license to be a priest, you know. To be a farmer.
Gentlemen, it's agriculture we're talking about, you know. I know.
Yes, sir. And let me tell you, Mr. Johnson, you probably have seen some of my articles in the papers on this matter long before it was even promulgated. I said, this cannot work.
This is, gentlemen, we have exhausted our time this evening.
I would invite you to have a look at the JACRA regulation.
No, certainly. I am going to get hold of that. I must inform myself about that because I wasn't aware of all these things at all. Because for example, I didn't know that somebody can't plant bananas, grow them, when they are ripen them, and sell them at their gates. I didn't know that was an offense.
Breach of the law, yeah. And you can be charged $3 million Jamaican dollars or a few months in jail. I think it's 12 months. This
is totally ridiculous, man. I mean, these we must remove these. Gentlemen, I want to thank you very much. Thank you very much for your participation this evening. And I have to inform myself on this JACRA regulation because we have to broaden this discussion. We must do something to have these laws changed. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Okay.
That was food security, and we were talking to Dr. Omir Thomas, and Mr. Hugh Johnson, both seasoned agriculturists. This is Rebel Radio. We go for a break.
Here with a message to you from myself and the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Shen Yang, everyone say wear a mask with the numbers drop. I don't want COVID, lay you down flat. Nose and mouth, you fi cover up that. Oh, sanitizer, get hospitalized. Fight the virus and fight for your life, yeah. Nobody talk about say you no response no more. Don't be reckless, cause you test us, you're not happy, you can still get the virus from somebody. Don't be reckless, cause you test us, so you're not happy, you can still get the virus. So keep the numbers down, protect yourself and the people around. COVID in town, 6 feet apart and 6 feet in the ground. Keep the numbers down, protect yourself and the people around. COVID in town, 6 feet apart and 6 feet in the ground. Stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive.
The station with the artist station with the artist.
No come here fi bring moderation. We come here fi sing to the nation. Tell me why you make Satan corrupt your heart. Moderation, oh. Moderation, oh. Moderation, oh. Moderation, oh. Moderation, oh. And tomorrow when they and then tomorrow when they and then tomorrow when they and then tomorrow when they adoration, oh. Adoration, oh. Adoration, oh. Adoration, oh. And then tomorrow when they and then tomorrow when they and then tomorrow when they and then tomorrow when they.
Yes. Welcome back to Rebel Radio. And we are going to Guyana now, to talk to the opposition leader, Mr. Harbury Norton. Good evening, Mr. Norton.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your time. I know you are busy.
Okay, thanks for having me. Yeah.
Yes. I listened to your speech, but update my audience on what are some of the latest things in Guyana right now? Political things.
Well, essentially, nothing has changed. We've just had the budget.
Yes.
From my speech, you would recognize that I pointed out that there are some issues of concern. First of all, this is the first budget since with which oil resources will impact. And we thought that the government, to use Guyanese terminology, I don't know if it's the same in Jamaica, is stingy, meaning that
yes.
is not putting resources in the hands of the people. In our criticism of the budget, we made a number of fundamental criticisms. One, that while we are talking about Guyana as the fastest growing economy in the world, all the reports, the World Bank, the IMF, everybody is showing that Guyana's poverty is on the increase. One report puts it at 48%. And we thought with that in mind, what the government would have done was to develop some poverty alleviation and poverty reduction program.
Yes.
And the government failed to do that. Mm-hmm. In that circumstance, as opposition leader, I identified 20 measures that could be taken to deal with poverty, since it is my view that the key issues to be dealt with at present, the first and foremost is poverty. Yeah. And therefore, we recommended some 20 measures to deal with poverty. Of course, the government response is that they don't have money and a whole heap of garbage. The second major concern for us with the budget is the high cost of living, which in some regard is also fueling inflation. We made a number of proposals to deal with the high cost of living, including ensuring Guyanese who earn less than 150,000 Guyana dollars do not pay income tax. We recommended some measures in terms of bringing down the price of gasoline and a number of other measures aimed at dealing with the cost of living problem. We also pointed out that while we are talking about putting these resources into alleviating the cost of living, we know that if you put resources into the economy without anti-inflationary measures, that can push inflation. So we also recommended a number of measures that can help with inflation, including developing agricultural programs in all 10 of our regions, because the minister in speaking suggested that food is the main pusher of inflation.
Yes.
And we recommend that all 10 of our geographical and administrative regions develop agricultural programs that will see the production of those goods in those regions automatically reducing the cost of transportation and people access to these goods while increasing the quantity of goods in the market. Again, the government did not respond positively to it, and so we expect them, with whatever little money they are putting in, will continue to fuel inflation. We are very critical of the government's wage increase. While we are talking about a budget that has increased significantly, direct benefit to the people such as wage increases, public assistance, and a number of others have been very, very, very minuscule. For instance, the increase in salary is a mere $50, 10,000 Guyana dollars. Now, with high inflation, you would agree that
Yeah, I don't know. We seems to have lost Sir Norton there. I don't know what went wrong, but we are trying to hook him up back online.
Hear me?
Yeah, yes, we lost you a moment, but are you there? Yes, sir.
Yes, I think something went wrong. Somebody tried getting in and
right.
Yeah, I was saying essentially that we made proposed measures to deal with inflation because we felt that inflation was a critical issue.
Yes.
Another critical issue we addressed in the budget was job creation. The government has failed in terms of creating jobs. We're not only talking about jobs, but we're talking about jobs that pay well, that allow people to live a quality life. And when it comes to that, the budget has little or nothing. In fact, I said in my budget presentation, the fact that the government is creating $40,000 a month, part-time jobs, which is 200 US, suggests that the government accept that it has failed and trying to put some stopgap measures in place.
Right.
But people's quality of life will only develop if they can access proper paying jobs that allow them to improve their income and consequently the quality of life. And here again, we found the budget wanting. We have put together, I think, about 9 or 10 recommendations that can result in job creation. In the budget, the government is boasting about giving house lots to the people of Guyana. Now, a house lot is not a house.
No, that is land.
Yes, and to the extent that they do not have mechanisms to ensure the poor who has little or no resources to be able to have a mortgage meant that they will have this land and they can't develop a house. In this regard, in the budget, we propose a scheme called rent to own, in which we said to the government, now there are a lot of our people who, when you take away the basic rent, the transportation, the food from the budget, there is nothing to get a mortgage. And so what we recommend, since a lot of them are paying rent, we build houses and do a rent-to-own scheme. And when the person gets the house, they pay like if they are paying rent, but once they continue to pay and cover the costs, then the house is transferred to them. So, in fact, their rent will go as if it is a mortgage. We have had no response from that. So we are concerned about the budget generally.
Yes,
the other thing about the budget that we are very critical of, while we believe that there is need for infrastructure, roads, bridges, etc., the government put a lot of resources into infrastructure. And basically our criticism is, one, the infrastructure is costing 2 times what it cost while we were in government. The second criticism we make is that it is poor quality. Some of the roads they are doing, by the time they finish them, they're broken. And so we said to them that while we believe in infrastructure, the critical thing for the development of our people is human resource development, developing our human resources, creating the opportunities for our people to get jobs, improve their qualification and certification. So we have said to them, look, human resource is critical. The president went to the United Nations and promised that this budget will be 20%. 20% of the budget will go to education and training.
Yes.
It turned out that $94 billion will go to education and training rather than the promised $156 billion, which shows that the president failed to honor his promise to ensure that there's a 20% increase in allocation to education and training.
Yes.
We believe that the government should survey the jobs that are emerging in the oil and gas sector, survey the jobs that are emerging, and train and retrain our people so that they can access those jobs and allow more Guyanese to be involved and benefit from our national patrimony. Those were some of the criticism. So I want to make it clear that we didn't only criticize. For those who listened to the budget presentation, we outlined clear policies and programs if the government implement can help our people deal with the harsh realities of Guyana.
Yes. How did they address health issues? Are you satisfied with their attention, the attention that they are paying to health issues?
No, we are not. First of all, our constitution stipulates that health services should be free. While we have no problem with the private sector in health, since we have always had private hospitals, etc., we believe that the government needs to honor that constitutional obligation. And therefore, there should have been a proper health program that seeks to bring all the health facilities in every region to a certain level. What we see is a tendency to not do that, a tendency not to have all the drugs that people need. And so as a result of that, they force the poor man to go to these private institutions, a lot of which is owned by their friends, families, and their favorites.
Yes.
And therefore, they have to pay. And those who cannot afford to pay are deprived of health services. And so we recommended that, look, health is critical. Our constitution demands that there be free health services. And therefore, the government needs a plan to improve health facilities across the country and at the same time ensure that people can access it. the government has this tendency towards specialty hospitals.
Yes.
But you need your primary healthcare system in order to be able to move in the direction of specialty hospitals. And if you know Guyana geographically, how it is large, if you put a specialty hospital in Georgetown, the people in the outlying regions have difficulty accessing it. Our suggestion, therefore, is that in all regions there be a proper general hospital that provides primary health care, and then you can have some specialty sections in those rather than focusing on specialty hospitals, and then the populace has difficulty accessing it because of the nature of the geography of Guyana.
Yeah.
The quickest you can get to Region 4 from Region 9, which is the Rupununi, to Georgetown is like an hour and a half by aircraft.
Yes.
The average man doesn't have money to go by aircraft. So the system needs to be updated in every region to provide that access rather than a focus on specialities, which will be good if your primary care is in order. But our primary care is not in order in every region. And therefore, I believe they put the cart and the horse in the wrong order.
Right. Your time, I know time is against you, but just one final question. What have they done about security? In line that Guyana has been rated one of the top, in the top list of crime-infested countries.
The government of Guyana cannot do anything about security. It is well known that the government is very much linked to a lot of the illegalities that occur in this society, whether it be drugs, backtrack, you name it, illicit trading in people. All of those people in the government have been linked to. And therefore, they do not have an interest in an independent police force operating to deal with crime. While we were in government between 2015 and 2020, we trained a lot of policemen to investigate crimes. And if you go through the records, you will see in that period, many of the crimes that occurred under the PPP were solved. And we have begun to deal with this question of crime and criminality. The government has moved a lot of those trained people, put them in interior areas, and brought back into the criminal department many of the people who were accused of colluding with the criminal underworld. We just had the famous case where a man was shot in front of court. There is evidence on the CCTV cameras, but the government refused to utilize it and give the kind of access that will allow them to solve the crime. And so what you have is even the technology we put in place to help solve the crime, they're using it when it suits them, and when it doesn't, they don't. And so you do not have a genuine approach to solving crime. And that is why Guyana has gone up back again in terms of high levels of crime. And so we are concerned that, again, the approach to crime doesn't seem to be one that needs to solve crime. For instance, clear training for those, giving them the skills to be able to investigate and bring criminals to justice. 2, the continuation of the CCTV program. Even if it continues, the data is being used selectively rather than as a mechanism for solving crime, rather than serving the elites in the society. So the measures that are needed for solving crime are not being put in place. There is lip service to dealing with crime, but in large measure, a lot of the high-level crime, they are generating problem. We have a case right now going where the fight is supposed to be with the DPP, where a man went to perform his legitimate function and somebody close to the People's Progressive Party assaulted him in the police station. They actually had a firearm shot in the station, and all we're hearing is that the file is with the DPP, but we anticipate that little or no action would be taken because those involved are known to have links to the present government. And once you have links to the present government, the government tends to do everything to hide that crime and only become effective and efficient when it's the small man. And so you will deal with petty crimes, but crimes at the organized level will continue to elude the Guyana Police Force as presently constituted.
Opposition leader, we want to thank you very much. We want to, based
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, the limitation of time this evening. But we want to thank you very much. And as you know, this forum, this platform is open for you to express and tell us, inform our listeners and viewers about what is happening in Guyana. Thank you very much, Opposition Leader, Mr. Harbury.
I will, and let me say a good evening to your listening audience, and I hope to be back to inform you so what is happening in Guyana.
You take very good care of yourself, sir.
Do the same, sir.
Right. That was Mr. Harbury Norton, the opposition leader in Guyana, telling us about what is happening in that our Caribbean neighbor. Wow. Why, lots of things. We want to take a break now. Don't move your dial.
Food, sweeter than your gold. Sweet, so sweet, and I got on your inner food. My God, it's so sweet. You gotta come and get some of him. Yeah. My God is sweet, so sweet. My God is sweet, so sweet. God is sweet, God is sweet, God is sweet, God is sweet, God is sweet. God is sweet, God is sweet, God is sweet, God is sweet, God is sweet. Hey, him so sweet, he make me want to lick my finger. And when him pour him blessing, him me can get more. Oh, yeah. Jesus came into my life early one Sunday morning. He said, woman, what you doing? Take up your bed and walk. See, I was going through some trials and tribulation, too much frustration. Yeah, you see, I'm running and I'm jumping and I'm skipping and I can't stand still. You might say that I'm a mad woman. Yeah. I'm just a glad woman, feeling the spirit of the Holy Ghost. Yes, I'm just a glad woman. Yeah. That's why I'm running and I'm jumping and I'm skipping and I can't stand still. See, I was so all alone, my life turned upside down. Yeah, nothing to eat, almost to live on the street. Yeah, I lay flat on my back and I said, oh Lord, what's next? I cried out to Jesus and he heard my cry. So you see, I'm not a mad woman. Yeah. I'm just a glad woman, feeling the spirit of the Holy Ghost. Hey, I'm not a mad woman. No. Yeah. Because I'm running and I'm jumping and I'm skipping and I can't stand still.
Do it for your best life. Wait. Go check your HIV status. Wait. So keep your life trending, no pretending. Me I tell yourself it do it for you, do it for you. Every time you are link with a condom, coulda Ozzy, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Condom connect and protect your profile. Be your own fan. Do it for your best life. Do it for your best life. Do it. Don't put yourself at risk. Condom connect every time. Do it for your best life. Do it.
He's on my knee, yeah. He's on my knee, yeah, yeah. He's on my knee, yeah, yeah. He's on my knee, yeah, yeah. When I am alone in spirit, I cry, Lord, lift me up. I want to go higher in thee. For the Lord knows I can't live on the mountain. No, no. So he picked out a valley for me. Whoa, 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 whoa. Jesus leads me beside still waters, yeah. It was somewhere in the valley below. Yeah. Then he drew me aside to be tested and tried. In the valley, he restored my soul. Yeah. It was dark as a dungeon, where the sun seldom shine. Oh, and I question why must this be?
Yes, welcome back. And, we have come to the end of our live programs today. Wednesday. I want to thank all my viewers and listeners, for, stayed with us from 2 o'clock. I want to thank all my guests, for staying. We'll be back with you again next Friday. Or yes. As I said, we'll be back with you Friday, 2 o'clock, when we will have a whole list of fresh ideas for you. So, until then, stay tuned. Keep your ears glued to Rebel Radio and enjoy our music. Have a good afternoon. I am Desmond Richards.
He's on my knee, yeah, yeah, yeah. He's on my knee, yeah, yeah. He's on my knee, yeah, yeah, yeah. He's on my knee, yeah. He's on my knee, yeah, yeah, yeah. He's on my knee, yeah, yeah. He's on my knee, yeah, yeah.